MSNBC is changing its name. Here's what happened and why it's more fascinating than cringeworthy. MSNBC, a name that once stood proudly for a partnership between Microsoft and NBC, is vanishing. After nearly 30 years of cable chatter, panel brawls, and signature branding that married Microsoft's tech muscle with NBC's media lineage, the network will be known going forward as MS NOW, MSNOW. It's a deliberately awkward acronym meant to stand for My Source for News, Opinion, and the World. The peacock logo also disappears, part of Comcast's decision to spin off NBC Universal's cable networks, including MSNBC, CNBC, Golf Channel, and USA, into a new company called Versant. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really? That's the name? But first, a story. I once worked with a client in the logistics business. They told me they wanted a rebrand specifically because their name sounded too small. We're doing international freight, they said, but our name makes us sound like we move boxes across town. So they hired a high-priced naming firm. The result? A sleek, contemporary name that did test well in focus groups. Trouble was, they hated it. And so did their clients. This doesn't sound like us, they said. This sounds like a tech company in Palo Alto. That's when the truth clicked into place. They weren't looking for a name. They were looking for permission to grow, to shift, to become something they aspired to be without losing what they were. So here's the real play behind the rebrand. Yes, MSNBC's move is about autonomy. Rebecca Cutler, the network's president, insists the change signals independence and continuity. As she says, while our name will be changing, who we are and what we do will not. But peel back another layer and you'll see it is also about strategic distancing, in particular from a political figure who has made media institutions his favorite punching bags. By detaching MSNBC from NBC, especially in a moment of heightened media tension under, yes, Trump's second term, Comcast is insulating the network from regulatory or reputational blowback. It's less about vanity, more about risk management. The counterintuitive insight is this: the rebrand is not a vanity facelift foisted on loyal viewers. It's a buffer. The brand shift is a negotiation between loyalty and safety. It's a signal to advertisers, regulators, and audiences that this is not the old MSNBC. It's a new identity designed to survive in an environment where media outlets are under political, financial, and cultural pressure. MS Now is the product of a media company trying to insulate itself in a world where political winds shift fast and often without warning. By spinning MSNBC into its own entity under Comcast's newly created Versant Media, the company is creating daylight from NBC News, daylight from regulatory scrutiny, and daylight from an association with a brand name that has become polarizing. Remember, branding is not what you say, it's what they say. And MSNBC knows precisely what they're saying. The name change is already being mocked. Social media is having a field day. Most surely, no one watching is trending. Critics are calling it bland, corporate, disconnected. And yet, that's part of the play. When a brand gets too loud, sometimes the smart move is to lower the volume. Why rebrand if you're keeping everything the same? That is exactly why it matters. MS Now is not trying to wow you. It is trying to survive you. This is not a leap forward. It's a step sideways, not an evolution, a sidestep, not reinvention, but insulation. A brand does not always change to grow. Sometimes it changes to stay alive. This move is not about the audience. It is about the environment. MS Now is a name you will forget 5 minutes after hearing it. That's not a mistake. That's the strategy. Because in a world where everyone is shouting, the brand that whispers might be the one you trust. So what's the branding lesson for your business? Trust is what keeps the lights on. If your company is ready to turn your brand into lasting relevance, let's talk. I keynote at conferences around the world, helping companies and organizations lead with clarity, communicate with confidence, and build brands that matter. I still have a few dates available for 2025 and 2026, and I would love to share them with your audience.